On this episode of the FGLI podcast, Haloon, class of 2025, sits down with Hannah, Srey, and James, class of 2028, to reflect on their respective freshman years and compare how being FGLI has changed. Listen to hear the conversations on the intersectionality of being low-income, first-generation college students, and the children of immigrants. Learn how they fought to find their way to Penn and their place on an elite, wealthy campus. What surprised them most? How did they balance their social life, academics, and budget? How do they relate to their families? Some of whom in Philadelphia, others 1,000 miles away. All living in a different world from them. Listen to find out now on the FGLI podcast. Welcome back to the FGLI podcast. This episode, I am the host, Haloon Dorj mentioned, class of 2025, and I'm joined by three amazing freshmen. If you want to go around the circle real quick, you guys can introduce yourselves.
Oh, I'm Hannah. I'm a freshman in the college. I'm studying bio.
I'm Sarahi, first year in the college. Came in undecided, but I think I'm gonna say I'm communications major, but it's still kind of undecided.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is James Tran. I'm a first year in the college as well, and I'm planning to major in political science.
Slay. Okay, so part of the reason we wanted to do this episode was to get the freshman view on being at Penn, because I feel like I'm only a junior, and I feel like so much has changed with the FGLI community in just the past 3 years. So I'm curious, what was your guys' biggest culture shock when you first came to Penn?
I don't know. I feel like I didn't realize, because I had this like very skewed view of Ivy Leagues, because at first I didn't want to go to an Ivy League. I didn't even think I was gonna like go to college. So I think it was just like how many FGLI students there are. Like I didn't realize like how many there were, because it's such an isolating experience. Like it's like you against the world almost, because like your family doesn't know what they're doing, and like sometimes you're in a neighborhood where like everyone else seems like they know what they're doing, and it's just like
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, to add on to that, for me it was like the socioeconomic differences and how like big the gaps were. Like I came in and they were like, if you make under, I think it was 65, you're highly aided, and I mean, at first, when I first heard that, I was like, I knew that the FGLI community was just a small percentage of, like, Penn people, so I was like, you're telling me that almost everyone makes, like, over 65, and, like, then you hear people with, like, parents that are, like, teachers, professors, and things like that, and, I think that was shocking. I knew that was gonna be the case, but I didn't realize how much or how prevalent it was gonna be in my life.
Yeah, I honestly agree with you, Shetty, and Hannah as well. But I think one thing that definitely helped all of us for sure was participating in the Penn pre-first year program, right? And we all, found a community who's first gen but also limited income. And I think it reassured us that we have people who come from similar backgrounds as us, but also, exposing us to the many different resources we have here. And I think that, if we didn't have that, I think it would have been a little harder to find this community. But I think, having this community really brought us all together to find resources, share resources, and just work together,
Yeah, 100%. I feel like it's really subtle what has changed. And one of the big things that's changed is Penn First Plus handing out, like, merch every year. Because we kind of talked about how, like, small FGLI populations are. But, I don't know. I feel like sometimes I walk down Locust and I was like, you're FGLI?
Yeah.
It's it's something Peter and I talk about all the time, but you never want to open up outside of, like, the context of Penn First Plus or, like, the pre-freshman program. You never want to be like, hi, I'm FGLI, are you? It's, like, kind of a taboo thing.
And just, like, speaking on that, when, like, Penn First gave, like, merch, like, the Penn, like, being first gen merch, like, t-shirts or, like, sweatshirts, I was, like, hesitant to wear it because I was like, I don't think, like, I wear this to class, and then that's like me telling everyone, like, a part of my identity that could be seen as like inferior or something like that. So I think that was a fear that crossed my mind.
Yeah, I feel like it's just a very sensitive thing to like. There's nothing. I thought it was like super cute, but like sometimes it's like you don't want to put that part of yourself on display, and it's like, you know, what am I like? It's just I don't know how to put it in words. It's just strange.
Yeah,
I
for
guess.
sure. It's like you want to be proud of it, but like you're also scared that
Yeah.
like people are gonna judge you, and especially like being at Penn, I think the people are, I would say, pretty judgmental, and I think we all have, we all are really pre-professional, and I think that really adds on to like the pressure we have to like live up to the standards and also to like not show like who we are.
Yeah,
Really.
and like side tangent of that, also on top of being like a person of color, it's like, yeah, it's like wow, you're just already marginalized, and now you're even more marginalized, and like you don't want someone to be like, oh, choose a struggle, and it's like, well, it's not my fault. Like this is like my background, and this is like where most of my community like comes from. So it's
A really common pitfall I fall into is kind of assuming everyone is like me or came from a background similar to mine, both in the positive and negative ways. So that's like what I kind of struggle with the most. Like I have like this very specific intersectionality of being like Asian American, first gen, and when I see other like Asian Americans on campus, I have this like tendency to be like, oh, you're also figly, but then like when you figure out they're not, it's like it's not a good thing, but I almost feel like I feel even more othered. It's like, oh, okay, you're like on a different level than me. And I feel like it's something really hard to get past because the cultural groups on campus are great, but like you can feel othered very quickly.
oh yeah, like I noticed very quickly, and this is just an observation about Penn in general. There's a lot of like Chinese people, specifically
It's
rich Chinese
Yeah,
people,
I
and
noticed that too.
and like usually I feel like very connected to like my Asian American identity, but it's like I'm Southeast Asian, and we don't get a lot of recognition. Like even more specifically, like I'm Cambodian American, like, and I know a total of 10 other Cambodians on campus who come from similar backgrounds of me, and we're all like children of like refugees and like war, and so I guess I just don't really relate to like the common Asian American first gen experience, because a lot of them, they're like, oh, they immigrated here for a better life. Well, for me, they immigrated here because of war. They had no other choice. So it's like it's even more like othering on top of that, and it's just like there's only so many people that can like relate to that, I guess.
Yeah, I also agree with you too. I think I noticed like for the Vietnamese Students Association, like our members like have been declining, like like not like a lot, but like you could definitely notice it. And so I think like yeah, like it's kind of yeah.
So I'm also curious. I feel like from a first gen low income student's like perspective, your idea of college is very skewed, either in a positive or negative way. What did you expect from college, and what fit those expectations at Penn, and what didn't?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think for me it was like thinking more of like the afterwards of college, like, like I just knew I thought about the like getting the degree and how much that would change my life and my family's life. I think that, yeah, like applying to college, that was my focus, like just getting the degree. I didn't know what to expect. Like I had no idea. Like my plan was to either do like CCP and like commute. Like that was the hope. And like then, I mean, so grateful for Penn in so many ways. But it's just a reality that like you don't know how to handle. So I didn't even know what to expect coming in. I had no idea. I was just like, I have to get through it because it's going to be a pathway to like a better future.
Yeah, I think I'm in a similar boat. Like, I mean, I was very lucky that my family, like, they supported my education and supported, like, me going to higher education because even though my mom did go to college, she had, like, a very different path. It wasn't very, like, traditional. So when the entire college application process came around, I thought I was just going to go to CCP. For listeners who do not know what CCP is, it is Community College of Philadelphia. And as a South Philly representative, we love CCP. But yeah, I thought I was gonna go to CCP and like live out my life, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Like when I was younger, I was like, oh, I all these like careers that they advertise as like doctors and lawyers and engineers didn't sound appealing to me. And I think coming to Penn, like the reason they seemed unappealing to me was because no one told me what it actually was. They were just like doctor, lawyer, engineer. Okay, cool. What did they actually do though, you know? So I feel like going into it, I didn't even think I was going to get into Penn, honestly. So I went in with basically nothing, and I knew I had like a bright future ahead of me, but I didn't know what to do to make that bright future happen. It was like, you can only get so much direction from your parents, but even then, your parents only know so much, so what are you going to do about it, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think my like perspectives was like pretty much the same too. Like I'm really grateful to be here, at Penn specifically, and like throughout high school, I really put in the work and effort to go pursue a higher education like this, but also like my parents didn't go to college, so having the not having that background was like kind of like really tough, but we did have this like academic success program that really like prepared us for it. And I think having people like my sister, like being my sister, like we did it together, so we had like this backbone. And I think coming to Penn was like really like eye-opening about like courses, like for sure, like they were hard, like math 100. Yeah, those professors are like so like you're gonna have to put a lot of effort like to do it yourself, to just like find a group of people who can support you. And like if you don't, like it's gonna be hard. So I think yeah,
like my first semester at Penn, even now, like I am struggling. Like this is the hardest I've ever worked in school, because like I feel like for me personally, I don't know if you guys relate, I was like one of those quote unquote gifted kids. So it's like you're really smart, so you got put in all the like, advanced classes and things like that, and it's like you've never had to study your entire life, and then you get here and you're like, well, I don't know how to study, like how do I do well in these classes? And like then I pick a challenging degree. Like I love biology, don't get me wrong, like I love STEM, but this is like the most I've ever been challenged. And I remember talking to my mentor and being like, I don't know if I can do it, like this is like I don't know if this is for me. And he was like, you got to remember, like people from our background, like they'd done this multiple times, and like these are weed out classes, they're done on purpose. And then you just think about how like most dropouts at Ivy Leagues are people of color, because they don't get the support and resources they need. So it's just like you're fighting so hard, and it's like, okay, but you have to remind yourself, like, who am I fighting for if everyone's like against me, I guess.
Yeah. Also, like something I noticed is like the vast, like the different groups of people, like you see people who like come from a like very like different background for sure, but like when like they're studying, like doing courses, like they don't do anything, like they're like partying like every weekend. I'm like, damn, how are y'all able to do this and just like still do so well in your courses, while like we're here like just like grinding out every single day, and like I still don't do as good as I want to be. And so I think it's just very different.
I feel like my expectations are too high. Well, I don't want to say they're too high, it's just like I feel like everyone's preying on my downfall, low-key. Like everyone's like waiting for me to like fail, and it's just like a lot of pressure. I think like I'm jealous of people who can like who like don't have to study and like are naturally smart, and it's like, okay, well, what about me who's like has to work 10 times as hard just to get where you are, or to even understand like the basic material. Like side tangent, chemistry, never taken chemistry before I've gotten here, like. And I got here, and they teach it. I'm taking intro Gen Chem, by the way. When I got here, they teach it like everything about chemistry in the entire world. And I'm like, how do you want me to succeed? Like, I don't understand.
And that's like the problem with these Ivy League classes, is because I had like the really immense privilege of taking community college courses when I was in high school. And when I took Gen Chem at my community college, it was taught in such a different way. What you start with Gen Chem 1 at Penn is what you end with at the community college.
Hello?
Class. And because I had that background in there, I didn't feel like I was drowning as much, but I still had to study a lot for that class. And it was material I had like experienced literally the semester before at high school. It wasn't even like, years before.
Also, another side tangent. If you don't have an iPad in a STEM class,
You're scared.
it is like life or
Fucked.
death in there. Because
Yeah.
I haven't purchased my iPad yet, and I have to wait until the summer until student discounts happen. And me on my laptop is like brutal. And I tried doing handwritten notes, and it was like the worst
work.
thing in the world. Like, I'm very jealous of people who have iPads, and I feel like that's another Figly thing. If you can't afford the technology, it's like, how are you going to succeed? Because all the classes are built around having this technology. And as someone who loves their pen and paper and also doesn't have the money to buy an iPad and a MacBook and the entire Apple ecosystem, it's like, how am I supposed to succeed here, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess kind of wrapping back around, I think like when I first came to Penn's campus, I remember walking through with my mom, my brother, and my sister, and we saw all these buildings. Okay, what's that? And I was looking at the Google Maps, and I was like, that is Phi Gamma Delta. That is a frat in the middle of campus. And I think that was honestly like my biggest culture shock. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But once I started like really adjusting to Penn, I think there are two main things. Number one, how dead we were with sports. We have like no
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean?
spirit. Like,
Oh, yeah.
We don't have a lot of school spirit for sports. Like,
but number two, how much spirit we have for clubs.
oh.
Like clubs
Clubs
have
are
more
so-
clout.
Yeah.
They're
Sports,
so
I feel.
competitive for no
They're
reason.
Why?
Like,
Why?
what are y'all even doing? Like, you do all of this for like what, like 1 GBM per month,
And
like,
you
Yeah.
skip it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. There's like what are you actually getting out of it? Like, what clubs do you guys think like actually like put in the effort and like actually like get stuff out of it?
I love my Figly clubs, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. But I also love like my cultural clubs.
Yeah.
Like I feel
Mhm.
like they're very tight, I
Mhm.
think. Even though, like, you know, sorry.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I think I mean, for me, I've seen it as like an opportunity to meet other people and
Yeah.
like a community building
I love
like
meeting new people.
when it comes to like Figly clubs and like you know that people there like chose to be there for like to meet people and also have some similarity in background and also cultural. I think the cultural part is really important, especially like coming into such a big like environment like Penn. Going to those smaller spaces that allow you to meet people that you would probably never meet without them, like people in different majors and different schools. I've really, really appreciated that from the clubs, but I agree that some of them are just ridiculously competitive, and it's just like, and like some of them, like I have a friend who was like wanted to try out consulting, but like they were asking her for like, previous experience and like everything, like recommendations and stuff, and she was like, I'm just understanding what consulting is, and I want to learn, and I feel like I'm not getting the opportunity to because I don't have previous. Like we're freshmen, like she didn't have previous.
I feel like that's
knowledge.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I feel like that's the case with like a lot of Wharton clubs. Like, did you see that DP article about how like
Oh,
the Wharton
I
kids
saw
are
that.
so stressed about the clubs and it's like really competitive? Like, I don't think I can wrap my brain around that because it was already hard enough to get in. You mean to tell me it's even harder to get into a club just because I think it's gonna be fun and like a way to meet new people? Like, make it make sense.
100%. And the reason I kind of brought it up because you all joined Penn First as first semester freshmen,
Oh yeah,
which is very impressive. What, I guess this is kind of like a compound question, but what kind of drew you guys to join Penn First, and how did you balance your academic, club, and financial responsibilities as a student? And do you think it's changed from first semester to second semester? It's a
for
loaded
sure.
question, but
Yeah,
go
so I
at it,
think-
James.
No, I joined the Penn First board specifically, to just, create events and just find an opportunity to find ways to support the fresh and limited income community. And I think just having a fresh year on it, like, you guys are able to have a more, like, perspective on what we need. And I think, balancing it out, first semester was definitely rough, especially adjusting to your courses, but also like how to navigate be away from home and just your what is it, clubs. So I think just having that schedule, having that alarm clock to like wake you up to just do everything really helped me out for sure. And I think coming to second semester, I felt more prepared in ways to, like, how to study. Like, I told myself to be more on top of it, like, to not skip any classes. And I think, like, it made me realize to, like, actually, like, you got to put in the work to get the work and, like, stuff you want out of it.
Yeah, I was going to make a comment on something you said, and it's completely slipped my mind. Oh, got it. First semester, I think I was looking for, like, the right people to be around and the right people to have, like, on my side. And, like, as you mentioned, like, coming in, you feel like you come in with no community. Like, it really is, like, it could be a really lonely experience. And I think that's part of, like, independence. And so I was like, I wanted to have a club where I can, like, show my identity and have a part of myself, like, and work towards, like, building and helping and supporting meeting other like classmates that also had that passion to support, like, the community. And so I think that's what led me to Penn First in the first place.
Yeah.
I feel like I partially joined because James joined, so I was like, oh. And that's not, like, a slight on Penn First. It was just, like, I wanted to do something out of my comfort zone.
Oh, I think you're muted.
Oh. Oops.
I'll start from the top.
My bad. Yeah, so TLDR, I forgot to unmute myself. But I partially joined because James joined, and, like, we were friends in PFP, like, when...
No, we are still...
We're still friends, sorry. Like, literally, when we first met, my mom struck up a conversation with his dad.
With
like,
my
it was...
dad. It was on the side of when we were, like, unloading stuff from my aunt's car.
Yeah.
Your friendship was just meant to be.
Yeah. My mom immediately clocked the fact that he was Vietnamese, and my mom was like, oh my gosh, we're part Vietnamese too. Anyways, that's a side tangent. But I partially joined because James joined, and I, like, wanted a community, but I didn't want to feel like I was the only person, like, trying this new community. So I think James being there, like, helped me feel more comfortable.
And I think I do that too, for sure, with other clubs too. Like, if I, like, know someone who's joining it, like, I feel more comfortable to join. But also, like, if I join it by myself, like, it takes a little time to adjust. So I think
because I think it's, like, harder to connect with the club if you don't have someone there, like, you already know. Because I had an experience first semester, and I'm not gonna, like, put this club on display, on blast. But I, like, joined, and I went to the first couple meetings, and I immediately noticed it's very cliquey. Like, if you weren't friends with them before the club, there was no way you were gonna suddenly be friends with them now. And so I just wanted somewhere where it was, like, I already knew somebody, and it seemed approachable and, like, welcoming. And I think that's what kind of, like, drew me to Penn First. And I was in the FGLI group me, and they were like, oh my god, void applications are open. And I was like, oh, this seems like a fun opportunity. And I love my position as social media chair. This is, like, all I do. But yeah, I think having a community and just knowing people who are upperclassmen that you can ask advice about and, like, get their opinion on things. Like, I'm very grateful that the upperclassmen in Penn First board are, like, in majors either similar to mine, or they have, like, experience that I can ask them about, like, for my own journey through Penn. And I think first semester, Penn First, like, kind of kept me grounded because it was, like, a weekly meeting outside of my classes that, like, okay, this isn't, like, school related, but you can sit there and plan fun events, and you get to talk to these people and grow closer to them. And I think that's what really grounded me, especially because first semester, I feel like I lacked the discipline that I had in high school. Like, it was just, I don't know, it was hard to adjust and, like, get myself motivated to go to class every day. And I think having Penn First was like, okay, if I can go to this club meeting, I can wake up at 10:15 and go to my, like, first class of the day, or I can get up and I can go to breakfast and then, you know, start my day right. And I think it was just hard to really find that balance here, especially because it's so easy to be caught up in academics here at Penn, and you forget that you're allowed to have a social life outside of, like, school.
Oh, 100%. You know, I really like the point that you guys brought up with having friends on board. Because Penn First, when I joined it, we were still completely on Zoom, basically. And I did not, like, I met, like, the previous board members once. Like, even Peter. I don't think I met Peter until, like, a solid year into being on Penn First. And like I saw it slowly transform into this where like the second board kind of transitioned on, and there were people that were friends and like they kind of got along, but we were still like a board, like it was still a hassle. We were doing hybrid meetings, so we did 1 week in person, 1 week on Zoom, and then again in transition, and like we weren't where I wanted to be. But fall 2023, I remember we had like our third in-person meeting or something like that, and I was finishing up the board meeting notes. I was emailing Zeta. Shout out to Zeta from Penn First Plus. And a lot of people just stayed in the room. And I was like, oh, the meeting's over, guys. Like, you can head out. I was like, oh, okay. I'm just going to finish this thing. And I think, like, a good solid chunk of you stayed for, like, 20, 30 minutes, just finishing up your work and then chatting. And I was like, we're there. We're there. This board's going to be great. And I think that gave me the courage to kind of... I talked about this on a previous episode, but to start stepping away from your leadership position, it was really seeing that trust and that relationships you guys had. Because, like, if you guys have each other, you're going to keep the board going.
Yeah.
So I loved seeing that.
Yeah, I feel like Penn First Board, even though we're a board, we're very much, I think, I would consider you guys, like, my other family. Like, I think it was so easy for me to build a community with you guys, because it wasn't serious like other boards are. It was like you come in, you do a meeting, you leave. And I feel like when we had our, not our first, but I think maybe our second board meeting in Van Pelt, and we were all kind of just like hanging out afterwards and just like chatting about life. I think that was where I was like, okay, you know, this is what I want. Like, it's not too serious, but it's not too unserious, and I feel like I have a community here. So yeah.
So James, you mentioned trying to deal with being away from home alongside everything else.
Yeah.
When you guys first left home, to what extent did you guys feel homesick, and how are you able to combat it?
Yeah, for sure. I think, for us three specifically, and like, I know y'all two are from, the Philly area, but I'm from Texas, so it was really far away. And so, that first week, like, oh yeah, like, wow, so much fun. Like, you get to be away from home. You're in college. You're experiencing life like away from home for the first time. And, and especially as like continue that 1 month, like you start to miss your family, and like like it was expensive to fly home back to like Texas just for like a week before school started. So I was away from home for 6 months, and then I finally went back home in December, and so like it was really exciting to like. Fun to be like relaxing at home in your bed. But yeah, it was like like my birthday, I spent it here, but I had like a great group of friends who like surprised me for it. And so just having that community, your friends, really like like helped. And then finally going home was really, really exciting.
Yeah, that's an interesting question for me, because I'm an only child, and like me and my parents are extremely close with one another. And like I remember that first month in PFP, and I'm maybe like 20-30 minutes away, but like during PFP you couldn't leave without permission. So like there was
people said
like you couldn't leave overnight, to like go home, for me to go home.
Yeah. We weren't allowed to leave overnight.
No, you could not.
And then if you did, you had to like fill out a form, and you had to get it approved so you could leave.
You guys were like deployed.
Yeah.
And before that I had also done Africana studies, so there you couldn't leave at all. Like that was even more strict. Like no, you didn't have free time pretty much. And so I remember like the first couple of weeks just being really hard. Like I remember like crying to my roommate, just saying like I did not realize how much I would miss like just being like in the living room with my dad. Like I didn't realize how special those moments were until I was here, and I literally couldn't go back. And like I think it's also really weird just being close enough to be able to like go home during a weekend, because there are weekends where I literally just can't go. Like I have either work or I have like clubs or like just a bunch of assignments that I have to do, and I literally can't go back. And I think that that's such a frustrating experience, like being from here and feeling so close but so far is I think is really hard to balance. And even like I wanted to like start my life here as a college student and like be fully like a college student, but it was just like talking to my mom, and like she used to tell me that she hoped I would visit every week, and so like it was just heartbreaking to be like I can't do that. Like, it's literally impossible for me to go back every week. And so, like, telling her that, like, I know it was also really hard on them for me to leave. So, like, I think that was one of the big challenges that I'm still, like, struggling with now.
Yeah. So I'm also, I mentioned earlier, a Philly native, but I think I had, like, a very different experience. Like, I'm the oldest child, and, like, I have the biggest age gap with my siblings. So, like, my siblings are, like, 10 and 9. Sorry. 10 and, like, 5. They're, like, so they're babies. They're 10 and 5. So I learned to be independent from, like, a very young age. And I think one of the hardest things was, like, not being able to, like, tell my parents, like, everything all the time. Like, I could pick up the phone and call them, but it was different now because we're such oh no. It's different now, I guess, because I can't just walk downstairs while my mom's making dinner and be like, Mom, you will never guess what happened to me today. And it was just a lot harder because I'm going to talk about my mom a lot. Sorry, I love my mommy. Hey, Mom, if you're listening, I love you. But my mom was a single mom for a while before she met my dad, and it was, for a while, it was just me and my mom against the world, and it was just hard not, like, having her, but not having her. And I'm very grateful that my parents work, at the hospital, so it's like I can just walk, like, a block down the road to go see my mom at work. But it's like, even then, it's like a struggle to, like, go and see her because you have classes and you have work. And there were times where I would call my mom and be like, Mom, I'm really struggling. Like, I don't know what to do. And, like, she really couldn't do a lot other than, like, offer me advice. And it's just, like, really isolating. And there'll be times where she'll call me and be like, hey, when are you coming home? And I, like, unfortunately have to be like, I don't know when I'm coming home. Like, I just have so much work and there's, like, only so much I can do. And I think I really felt, like, the homesickness this semester because I'm taking, like, harder classes. And I remember, like, my mom being like, hey, you have to come home. We need to talk. And, like, just sobbing to my parents in the car about, like, how stressed out I was. And, like, just how isolated I felt, I think. And, like, even I have a single, so I used to have my cats come in and we would cuddle before we go to bed, and it's just, like, it's so lonely in my little dorm because it's like I don't have my cats, I don't have my parents, I don't have my little brother running up to me and being like, Hannah, guess what? And then tell me about the most random string of events possible. And it's just, you miss the little moments, especially as an oldest child, and especially, like, with a large age gap. Like, I think what I missed the most about being home is, like, not being able to see my siblings grow up, and, like, fearing that, like, even though I'm working hard and I'm creating this future for my family, like, what if they feel isolated from me because I have to go away and do all this work and I can't watch them grow up and be there for them when they need me,
Homesickness is tough. I'm gonna be honest, like, guys. I think it took me until either this past winter break. I think that was the first time I didn't leave without crying. Every time before that, like, I'm not talking about cry. Like, I was like, not mental breakdown, but it was like crying when I left. And this was the first time I teared up right when I left my mom, because with the way the Salt Lake airport works, you can follow the person up. Well, like, the way the line works, you can follow them up to security. You're not in line with them, but you can see them. Yeah. My mom always follows me down, and I'd always look back, and I'd always like, oh, I can literally see me cry, but, like, I can't, like, just, like, turn around and not look at her. Yeah. I always turn back, and I always, like, cry. But luckily, the stress of TSA always wakes me the fuck up.
For real. It stresses me out so much.
Why is TSA so stressful?
Hurry up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
no, you need to.
I say we kind of touched on this, but what are some of the goals or dreams that you have for yourself after graduating from college? And do you think being first gen, specifically in relation to your family, add an extra pressure to that?
Completely. I mean, yeah, I think, like, like I mentioned, I'm an only child, so I'm in a way, like, I'm their way out of many, many struggles. Like, My dream is to, I don't know exactly what career I want or what I want to do, but my dream is to be able to say, hey mom, I bought you your first home, like you're a homeowner, we're homeowners. And like I say that and I get like emotional because it just means so much to be able to give that to like my mom. And like I think I've seen that they deserve
We
so
can't all be
much.
crying on the podcast. Just for reference, everyone is like teary-eyed right now.
You just see how much your parents work and you see how much like they have to struggle, and you're like, you deserve the entire world, you deserve everything and more, and I want to be able to provide you with that. And like I mean, that's why I'm here. Like I feel like on moments where I'm like, this is like, this system is so messed up, where I hate being here, like I'm like, it has to be worth it for them. And like, to be honest, like there's for me, it's like there's no other, like we can't just sit back and be like, oh, hopefully life gets better, hopefully like our parents can work until like 8. Like I don't want my mom to be working until 80 and like being like I was living like check to check. And so I think for like that stress and that pressure of being able to provide for them and being able to say I am your safety net and you will be fine in 5-10 years is my like my long-term goal. Like I just want them to be okay.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, like, I really want to be like become a lawyer, and I think what many people don't understand is that there's certain jobs that people can't just go pursue just to have fun, right? Like, you know what I'm hinting at, right? Like so, like me, like specifically, and my sister, like we're gonna have to be working hard to just look for jobs that are high paying because, like, you know, we want to support our family, so we can't become like an artist or like become like certain jobs that don't pay well. And I think pushing that, like, oh yeah, like you're studying hard to just get a livable but also like good income to buy your parents a car, a house, pay off like the mortgage and all that whatnot, and to just, you know, live life. You want to go explore, you want to go on vacation. Like I want to travel. And, you know, like Penn, like, you know, the opportunities Penn has, like grip, like I'm excited to finally go to Korea, like just to leave the United States for once. And so just, you know, having fun in college is something I prioritize, but also my studies, to have a good job, something that's supporting for my family as well, but also like, you know, like, yeah, everyone, like your kids, your future wife, everyone.
Yeah, I feel that so much, especially as like my grandparents are like, they came from war, so they came with literally nothing. And it's like, you know, I want them to be comfortable. I want to be able to be like, hey, like, let's go out for dinner, I'll pay. Or like, hey, let's go on this trip, I know you really want to go to this country. And it's just, it's so hard because it's like I look at my parents and I think about how they struggled and like all the things they have to sacrifice just for me to be here. And it's like, it upsets me because they didn't deserve any of that. And like, they deserve to be comfortable and happy, and they don't need to like work for the rest of their life. Like, you know, I had a tuition scare last semester, and like I didn't know if I was going to be able to come back second semester because, you know, financial aid did me wrong. But it was so heartbreaking to my parent to have to watch my parents like be like, oh, don't worry about it, like we got your back, like we're your safety net. And it's just I want to be that safety net for my family because and I mentioned earlier, it was like I watched my family struggle. I watched my mom struggle before they had my siblings, and it's like I had a very different life than my siblings currently have. And it's like, I want to be there for you, and I know you want to be independent and support yourself, but like, you deserve to be comfortable and like happy too. Like, I don't want you to have to worry about finances and things like that. And like, we don't even own our own house right now, so it's like I come home and I listen to my parents talk about how they want to buy their first house, and it's like,
they're living their life for the first time,
yeah,
as well as you want to. So like,
yeah,
you want them to have fun, and
like
experience, like be stress free.
Yeah, like, you know, in Everything Everywhere All at Once, where like, you know, it's the mom. Well, if you've never seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, it's kind of like an Asian American multiverse movie, and I think when I watched that for the first time, it broke my heart, like seeing the mom try and relate to the daughter, and it was just like how it was like you understand and like you know why they do the things they do, but it's like yeah,
things are different.
Yeah, it's like things are different, and it's like you want to do things for them and you want to support them, and it's just, I just want my family to be happy. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I don't really, I don't want to say I don't care, but like, long term, I just want my family to be comfortable. Like, and I don't need to be like a doctor, an engineer, earning like 500 grand.
Yeah.
Like
But
every
you want to
year.
be happy too.
Yeah, I want to be happy and I want to be comfortable, and I tell my parents that all the time when we like have our little conversations about the future. But I just, when I'm in college and I go to classes, like, I think what really keeps me going is just like my family is supporting me, but also it's like I know the sacrifices they have to do just to pay my tuition and just for me to be here. And it kills me a little on the inside, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I had the first opportunity this like past summer to finally contribute to my family like financially, and they hated it, you know, like they didn't so they were so triggered. But it was like because it is really that, I think there's like really 2 points of being Figly, and I have an older brother who really put in the work. He became a chemical engineer, and he took us from like struggling to like we are comfortable, if that makes sense. Like he has his home, he takes care of my mom, they're like in that together. And then for me, like, he is our foundation. He was the safety net. He was the one that put in the work so that we are where we are today. For me, he always calls me like the investment plan. It's like that 5% chance, that 20% chance that something flips over to something big. And it's really similar to like, I don't care if I have to like do certain things that like, let's say like you do make it big, you get in this investment, I like have my biotech start company, right? I don't care if I live like this regular life. That's like, I'm fine with that. But I want him and my mom to like have their fun money. I want them to like have their thing, just because like I saw how much they put into life and like into like getting us to that point. And it's definitely like this I don't know if it's called the same thing, but like this guilt when you are at a place like Penn. Because I remember I got to go to like a basketball game with my college house for free. I was sitting there, I was like, damn. I wish my mom was here.
No,
Like, I wish my mom could see this. She loves basketball.
I think about it all the time. Like, I would go home and I'd be like, yeah, we did this thing, or like, I just did this thing. And like, my dad would just go like, you know, I wish I got to experience the things that you're currently experiencing at your age. Like, he was like, you're just gonna have, he's like, he says this every single time. He's like, you have such a bright future ahead of you, and like, I'm so proud of you and I'm so excited for you. But like, in my head, I'm like, well, I want you to have those experiences too, but it's like, how can I give this to you without like sacrificing like other things as like a subset of that? Like, I want you to be happy, but also I want to be happy too, and I want to find that balance where like I'm not sacrificing my everything just for you to be happy. And I know my parents are very much like, oh, you don't need to take care of us when we get older, but like, I do actually, contrary to popular belief. I will not put you in a nursing home.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But it's like, I've watched you struggle, and like, I watch you do like all these things just for me to live this life, and for like, you know, you to live a life that like you're comfortable with. And like, you know, only like recently, a couple years ago, when my family like got the job at the hospital and like they're working for Penn now, it's just like, it's different because when you've been low income your entire life and you're suddenly comfortable, you don't know how to process like suddenly having like spending money when just before you were living paycheck to paycheck and you were just trying to like pay the bills or keep the lights on. Like, there was a point in my life where like we all lived in a 1-bedroom apartment, and I think that was like the lowest point for my family, because it was like us struggling was really on display, I think. And I hope that when my siblings are my age and like they're in college, like they can look back at what I went through and like kind of pave the way for them to be like, hey, like this is the standard. Like, you don't have to struggle anymore. Like, I'm here to help you. Like, you're not on your own. And I hope that like I can be something for them and my parents, you know.
So like taking pictures of everything, like
Yeah.
I love doing that and showing to my parents, like, oh, I went here, like I ate this, it was so good.
Yeah.
Like, you just want them to have a little bit of feeling, and of course, like one day you obviously want them to experience it themselves too. But like I'm not at that point yet, and like I want to be at that point to just share it with my parents.
It's really interesting. I hear us talking, and I think about this like reversed parent role in a way. Like it's
Yeah.
like we want to care for them as much as possible and want to protect them from like the world and like just struggles and so many different things. And I think that that's also an additional like pressure that not many people ever experience, and it's really difficult to handle because you're also like you're in a new life experience. Like college is complete, like nothing ever. I don't think anyone comes in and it's like, oh, I'm prepared for college. I think that's like impossible. But then you also have this additional layer of I don't want to leave my family alone. I can't, like that would, like I want to be there at least in some way, even though I can't be there physically, or like you always have that worry, or just always thinking about them, and that's like an additional emotional like just emotional like weight that you're carrying as you continue.
All right, guys. So to try to wrap it up, we're gonna bring up the energy a little bit. How do you celebrate your achievements and identity as a FGLI student?
Oh, well, I do post a lot on my social media.
As you should.
My friends who are currently still in high school, they see that I post a lot about like my FGLI identity and like how I'm part of all these things, and like, you know, like, wow, it seems like you're really having fun. And I'm like, well, I found like, you know, this community that really loves and supports me. And I'm very lucky to have like Penn First Plus and like Penn First Board to like be a space where I can find people who are like me and like really.
Just bang my head.
Oh
Why is it covered? Like, is it important or
She's
something?
I guess.
Context, guys. We are in a room.
Oh,
we
I
are
gotta mark
in a
this
room
down.
where the painting behind us has like this weird.
Glass box that's like 2, 3, 5 inches thick.
I think it's acrylic.
Yeah, bro, what's the purpose?
Oh.
No, it's got to be like.
Whoa, wait.
Don't move it.
She contributed a lot of money.
Yeah,
That's what that
Helene
was.
like banged her head on it. I think.
Uh,
I forgot what I was saying. I'm not gonna lie.
How do you
Sorry,
social
editors.
media.
Sorry, editors. Yeah, social media is how I celebrate my identity. I think because half of my family's in California, right? So like I can't exactly update them all the time, but they do follow me on my social media. So I try to like post and be like, look at this random thing I'm doing, or like, look at this event I'm hosting, or, you know, when I got featured on like Penn First Plus's Instagram page, I was like, oh my gosh, look, guys, I have been recognized.
I made it.
I made it, lol. But also just being very lucky that I can attend somewhere like Penn is like how I really celebrate it, because now it's like a point of pride. Like, I didn't even think I was gonna make it to college, and like here I am at an Ivy League institution, and it's like, you know, this is my current achievement. This is my proudest moment, I think. So
I read on Instagram on this like Instagram post, and they were like, it was like, sometimes we don't think about like how in the past there was a mini us that dreamed to be where we are now. Like that was the dream of like in somewhere in my past, like I envisioned being at like either at college or like
That's
even
so
getting into Penn, and
Yeah.
now we're here. Like
Being at
sometimes
Harvard.
yeah.
or it's like sometimes you don't really stop to think about that and celebrate that in a way. Like you made the dream of like your past self, like you made it, you're making it.
I think I'm like pretty similar too. Like growing up, like in like elementary, middle school, like I was always that kid who had to stay like for tutoring, or like I had to stay because my reading levels weren't good enough, and so like just like getting to where I'm at today, like at Penn, like I feel like I feel validated, like oh like I made it, like I overcome all this like barriers that I once had, and like I think celebrating it, like I like going like explore like Philly, like trying new places of food and like all these fun stuff, and so I think just having that balance, just of course studying, but also like treating yourself to like boba, because like gochas here is too close, trying food, and just hanging out with friends who support you along the way, who could, like knowing that you have someone to talk to when you need advice and all that stuff is just, really, really fun.
Yeah, and just adding on to that, I feel like sometimes celebrating can get forgotten because we're so used to working hard and we're just so used to like that being the normal, and then you're like, it's sometimes hard to pause and just like reflect.
Take a step back and just reflect. Yeah.
And be like, wait, I've been working so hard. I deserve to also treat myself, or I deserve to also like live in the present and not always worry about the future, what's coming and what's not coming, and things like that. And I think that's also harder for a FGLI student.
Yeah, I think to add on to that too, I think like getting rejected from stuff, like maybe like happens for a reason. Like maybe you're failing, like that happens for a reason. I think just having something that redirects you, like it feels good. Like obviously it doesn't feel good when you get rejected from something, but like just keep pushing forward until you find something that's like ready for you and like good for you. Yeah,
and I think take that as an opportunity to like make you stronger in a way, like
to learn, to grow.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's a first, like we have just put so much pressure on ourselves, and we're like, oh, I didn't get it, I'm not good enough, or like this is gonna set me back, I'm now like I'm gonna fail, or I'm not gonna get to where I want to, and like sometimes viewing life in that way just can ruin like our teenage or like our young adult, like our young years, and it can just,
we have a lot ahead of us.
I think it's a mentality that we have to work on, and I feel like that's something really relatable for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to like have a whole other episode on like mentalities and trying to find like the beautiful or like little things in life that make you happy. But thank you guys so much for being on this episode of the FGLI podcast. Where can we find you guys? Social media, if you're comfortable.
I am on Instagram at Snare. It'll probably be posted, so I'm not gonna spell it out for you guys, but it's pronounced. My username's pronounced Snare. It's just like a scramble of all the letters in my name. But you can also find me at Penn First Board. Plug for Penn First Board. I run their social media, guys.
Look for our new TikTok coming out soon.
I swear we're gonna make it. We're trying to be more active. I'm not gonna lie to you, I do not like our website. I might be getting rid of it. I'm being so serious right now.
We said that for a whole semester already.
No, I'm being serious. I might be getting rid of the Penn First Board's website because I want to completely redo it. Anyways, not the point. This is a side tangent.
And mine is just my name, Sarahi, which is it'll be spelled somewhere, hopefully. But yeah, it's pretty much, or like Penn First Board. Yeah. I think that's the best way to keep up with us.
Yeah, for sure. If you want to, you can find me on Instagram at James Zays, or just go to the Penn First Board and you'll see me, and just don't feel afraid to say like hi to me. I love meeting new people, and I think let me just add a little bit more. I think people here are like kind of like scary sometimes.
Yes.
Like I try to smile at them and like they don't smile.
They're so intimidating.
Who do you think you are? Who do you think
you are? You are not a celebrity.
Yes, and there's a difference between the first semester and second semester. Like first semester there is easy. More like it's more people are still open to meeting people, and then you come in all happy and you're trying to make friends and hi, and then second semester
like, who do you think you are?
Yeah, people just like
why did you give me a side eye when I tried to say hi to you and look at
us? And it's like I'm just trying to like make the best out of my time and meet as many people, and I guess not everyone really wants that.
Yeah, like don't act like you don't know me. Like, I know we know each other.
We had a class together. We sat together, and now we're walking by. And
you spent the entire semester next to me. Also, another plug: you can always find me at Penn First Plus. Like I basically live there.
Me too. I'm always there.
There's a 99%.
There's good coffee.
Oh yeah. There's also a 99% chance when you see me there, I will be passed out on the couch. But, you are more than welcome to give me a little shake and be like, oh my God, hi. And I'll say hi to you. Maybe.
No, after we just said that people don't say hi.
I support daily naps. If there's any takeaway that you get from this episode, is that I support naps. I think they're very healthy.
But not anymore. I don't have time for it.
No, I build a nap into my daily schedule. Anyway, this isn't the point. This is side tangent.
All right, well, follow the Figly podcast and rate our podcast 5 stars.
Yes.
Thanks again for joining us, guys. Bye.